insert that into the boot. Once you get the boot seated over the little rubber clip or retainer, make sure the stick is straight and how you're going to see it in the car. Make sure you're happy with that. And then zip tie it using the zip tie that came with the Hurst shifter. Make sure you got plenty of leather material for this to grab onto. You don't want it to snap off. And then trim off your excess zip tie there. Then you want to go snap this into the car. Now it appears that the Hurst shifter can be installed on either side. The stick can be installed on either the left side closer to the driver or on the right side farther away from the driver. I'm trying to see my normal driving position. I think I'm going to put it on the side farthest away from me to start. If I don't like it, it's pretty easy to change it. I just got to pop this up and swap it over. So, when you're installing these last two Hurst hex head bolts, you need a 7/32 Allen wrench, and make sure that the Hurst shifter has a like a striped side that it's grooved so that it lines up with the grooves in the shifter base. So make sure those grooves line up, and then put a lock nut on the hex bolt and put that in, and then just tighten them with your 7/32. Next, we'll go ahead and install our shift knob. And notice it's got a 9/16 lock nut on it so that you can get the pattern lined up just right. And then the plastic knob has a brass threaded collar inside of it. Let's see, I'm going to get it set about there. Give our lock nut about a snug turn. We want to snap our bezel back on. Let's give it a try. Wow, the shifts are definitely shorter, much more positive. Like when it goes into gear, you know it. I just came back from a quick test drive, and what I noticed is that these hex head bolts, the 7/32 hex head bolts that Hurst included with the shifter, seemed to loosen up on me as I was driving. I guess there's quite a bit of vibration coming through there because of the transmission and the engine revs and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and replace the lock washers that Hurst included. They included these little, this style, have little teeth on it. I'm going to go ahead and try a good lock washer, and I'm also going to put a little blue Loctite, not much, just a one drop on the threads just to help hold that in there. In case I want to change the sticks out, I don't want to get too much on there and make it difficult to remove. I'm going to try that and see how we do. Okay, so I've replaced the lock washers with the good ones that I showed. Not sure why Hurst decided to use hex head bolts for this. It would have been better if they had used a standard bolt that you could get a ratchet on. These Allen keys type wrenches are a little bit hard to get in here because of the space that you have to work in, but it gets the job done. I'd say if you've got the adapter for your torque wrench, the socket type Allen keys, 20 foot-pounds on those would probably get it done. That's what the stock one was, so I just guessed since I had to use my standard Allen key. But that's installed. There's grooves, like I said, on the back part of the stick, and there's grooves on the top of the shift mechanism. You want to make sure that those grooves line up, and that's what gives it a nice firm mount. So make sure those grooves line up before you put your tighten your bolts all the way down. What I'm going to attempt to show is the difference between the stock 6-speed shifter and the Hurst 6-speed shifter. So that's first gear. There's second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay, so here's my final thoughts on the shifter. I never personally had problems with the stock 6-speed shifter that came in the car. I thought it was pretty good. It was a little soft, I guess is the word for it. Sometimes I wouldn't be exactly sure, I was going to hit third. I never had problems with it, but I could see where other people might. With this shifter, you know exactly what gear you're shifting into. It's very firm, very positive. Really fits the personality of the car a little bit better, I think. It's more of a muscle car shifter. I like the way it looks. The white ball is very classic. The only thing I would change personally if I had designed this is I would have made this about a 1/4 inch shorter, the stick part. It sits about a 1/4 inch too high, I think. Nothing, you know, it's not a huge deal, but just something, I'm anal, so it's just something I noticed. You hear a little bit more transmission noise through the stick if you have the radio completely turned off. You know, you can hear the flywheel and everything, just barely. You just hear this light whirring sound. Radio at, you know, volume 8 or 10, you don't hear anything. And one last thing I noticed is that when giving it quite a good bit of gas, leaving a red light or something, you'll get just a slight rattle out of the shifter at about 3,300 RPMs. It's not annoying or noisy or anything like that, but it's just something I noticed. Cruising down the highway, you know, I don't get any problems or any noise out of anything. I like the shifter. I think it's a pretty good unit, and if you got the extra money, you ought to get you one.